Alrighty, folks. This is the I Got Next podcast. My name is Anthony Mercer. I am super excited in giving you all another episode. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over NFL. Let's get straight to it. Thursday night football. Cowboys, Eagles. Such an amazing game. Thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I'm going to get into my takeaways and kind of what I saw in the game. Game starts off, both teams looked really good offensively. Cowboys scored in their first two drives, as did the Eagles scored in their first two drives. They looked good. What I will say is that I think the Cowboys more so lost the game than the Eagles won the game. I'm going to tell you why. One thing that I hate about the Cowboys is they beat themselves. The Miles Sanders turnover, walking into the red zone, and CeeDee Lamb, and we're going to get into that, really ruined a really good Dak performance, and also really ruined what would have been a really good start to their season. Because if you watch the game, the Cowboys should have won the game, right? I feel like they were in control of the game. They just made mistakes. I want to talk on the Eagles side for a second. Lost a lot of guys on defense. Defense definitely looks a little bit different than it did last year. As you all know, Jalen Carter just inexcusable. Can't have that. Can't be spitting on people. Just terrible. And it looks like the Cowboys had their way offensively. I want to have a conversation about Jalen Hurts. When I look at that game, they won. And I've always been someone who has had this idea and opinion that Jalen Hurts is a winner. I will never take anything away from him. Jalen Hurts is a winner. However, when I look at that box score, A.J. Brown, 1 catch for 8 yards. I think Devontae Smith had 3 catches. I know his yardage was low. My issue with Jalen Hurts is this. I don't believe Jalen Hurts can consistently move the ball down the field with his arm and consistently keep his top guys, his top 2 receivers involved over the course of the season. That's my issue with him. Though Jalen Hurts may be a winner, I don't believe he is an elite quarterback. Let me know what you think. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. I honestly don't believe he's a top 10 quarterback either. I would put Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts to me is a tier 3 quarterback playing the position. I'm going to give you my elite quarterbacks. Let me know if you agree. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Tier 1. This is where things are going to get dicey. And you may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. We're talking about throwing the football down the field, playing the quarterback position. This is the conversation. Tier 2 quarterbacks. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Herbert, Brock Purdy. Tier 2 quarterbacks. Say what you want to say. That's my tier 2. The group of quarterbacks where Jalen Hurts, I believe, belong is C.J. Stroud, Jaden McDaniels, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott. That is the tier 3 quarterbacks where Jalen Hurts belongs. This is where winning championships can significantly skew your opinion of people and put them in conversations they have no business being in. I was watching these other podcasts, these, sports shows, and Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. No, he is not. No, he is not. Jalen Hurts has had a top 3. He had a top 3 defense last season. I will argue they were the best defense last season. And he also had a man back there that ran for 2,000 yards. Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. Now, what he can do is extend plays, get first downs, get in the red zone, and execute tush push, things like that. Jalen Hurts has to win a certain way. Rely on your defense. That defense, as long as he don't turn the ball over, that defense is going to always give you a chance to win football games. I understand he was Super Bowl MVP. I get it. Most quarterbacks are. And he made enough throws for them to get away and win the game. You can't look at that Super Bowl and tell me that defense didn't win the Super Bowl. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is where winning championships skews the idea of what people think. He's not top 5. He's not Matthew Stafford. He's not Jared Goff. We all know he's not the other 4 guys, the elite quarterbacks. He's no Mahomes. He's no Lamar. He's no Josh Allen. He's none of those guys. We know that. Let me know, is Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback? Is he top 5? Let me know. Moving forward, I want to have a conversation about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to be honest with you for a second. I think Dak Prescott catches a lot of unnecessary flack. I think that when you are the quarterback of a team, you're doing well, you get praise. Things are not going well, you get the blame. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Dak's the problem. I think the Cowboys are a mismanaged football team. No true identity, no true culture. They're just they just bunched up a whole bunch of talented guys together around, and it just doesn't work. Let's talk CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb pissed me off Thursday night. I'm going to tell you why. Off-season, training camp, preseason, you're so vocal about Micah Parsons publicly, how you should keep him, how they need to just pay him. CeeDee Lamb, do you know one of the reasons why they couldn't give Micah what he wanted? It's because they're probably paying you too much money. 4 drops? Not 1. Not 2. Not 3. 4 drops? What's CeeDee Lamb making? 37, 38 million? 4 drops. The one, I think it was the dig route. The man had the ball in his hands. If you watch the replay, he was looking ahead at the safety because he knew he's about to take a hit. Ex receivers don't do that. Ex receivers go and catch that football. You know what's interesting is Jamar Chase would have caught that ball. Justin Jefferson would have caught that ball. Cooper Kupp would have caught that ball. DK Metcalf would have caught that ball. You can ask anybody who knows me. I don't necessarily care what the numbers say. I have never considered CeeDee Lamb to be an X receiver. He's a high functioning Z. He's really supposed to be the second guy that really helps you, but he's not the guy. Never thought that. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. Those are the elite wide receivers. And I would throw Mike Evans in there as well because of consistency. Right? CeeDee Lamb's not an X. He's a Z. There's a lot of really good Z's out here. Reggie Wayne, Chris Godwin, Steve Smith with the Panthers, believe it or not. If you know football, you know he was a high-functioning Z, right? Cooper Kupp is a Z. You got some guys that can function as the guy, as the X guy. But that was bad. That was bad. He robbed them of a really good start to their season, as did Miles Sanders from Lane to Football. But both those drops on that last drive was bad. And you can't have that at all if you're a team that has playoff aspirations and you're a team that wants to improve from your past years of consistent failures, I would say. But one thing I will say about CeeDee Lamb, I do like the fact how he took accountability after a game for his drops. And so hopefully that doesn't happen again in the future in a clutch moment, because they're going to need him. I want to transition in talking about this Kansas City Chargers game. Shout out to the Chargers. They played a beautiful game. I love Harbaugh. If you really watch that game, Harbaugh outcoached Andy Reid. He did. Defense played amazing. Offense was exceptional. They had nice, long drives, scoring touchdowns. Herbert was excellent. Did everything they needed to do. Shout out to the Chargers. They played amazing. Excellent start to their season. They played phenomenal. I wanna get on the Chiefs. A consistent issue that's been an issue in the beginning of the season, as it was last season, their inability to run the football. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes is elite. But even the elite, you need some form of running game. Period. They need to be able to run the football. I think Pacheco had, 5 or 6 carries? I think Mahomes had the most rushing yards on their team. Now, this is interesting. I believe that the game of football is at a point where it's currently evolving at the quarterback position. You're going to start seeing more now. We started to see it last season, but I was just really paying attention to it over these last 2 games. These quarterbacks are doing whatever they can to extend drives. In the red zone, they're running the football in. 3rd down and 3. They're going 4 wide, 5 wide, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, take off and get there, right? And you're starting to see a lot of these running backs get less rush attempts and less touches. And you're going to see more of the quarterbacks taking off running, right? Because what people are starting to see is that, what offensive coordinators, I believe, are noticing is, how can we extend drives? That's all we want to do is extend drives. How can we do that? Look at the success of the Commanders last year. Jaden Daniels did a lot of taking off. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl. He do a lot of taking off. Jalen Hurts, I hate to get back on him, but I feel so bad for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith because they're so talented. I feel like when Jalen Hurts gets in the pocket, he looks at his first read. It's not there. He may look over at his second read. But primarily to me, if that first read ain't there, he taking off. And as an elite receiver, you hate to play with a guy like that. You hate to play with a guy like that. And I know that they won the game. But what people have to understand is the game of football is about winning. But individually, it's also about production and getting paid as well. And I think that's where these receivers, where A.J. Brown, maybe I can understand if he has frustrations. I can understand if Devontae Smith has frustrations. I feel like Jalen Hurts plays a very conservative brand of football. I don't feel like he's going to take many complex throws. I feel like he's going to be ultra conservative. If it's open, I'm going to do it. But if it's not, I'm going to try to make something shake with my legs. He's not elite to me. But nonetheless, he can extend drives and effectively win games. Going back to my point, I think you're going to see a lot of quarterbacks just start taking off, extending drives. Herbert did a few times a lot last night. You know, Mahomes did it as well. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Let's just get it, get down, extend. Like I get it. So if you notice that, I would start taking some unders on rushing attempts for running backs. And if it's a quarterback who's young, maybe a Baker Mayfield, maybe somebody like a Herbert, their rushing yards are at 15, 16 yards, I might take that. You're going to start noticing they're taking off a lot. What else? The Chiefs' inability to run the football, I think, kind of hurt them last night. I do think, though, they do miss Tyreek Hill. I think their entire offense is decent, but you need that one guy that can take things over the top. I do think they missed that. Can they win without him? Yes. But I do think at times in certain games they do miss having that threat. I'll definitely say. One thing, a way in which I believe Harbaugh outcoached Andy Reid is they were able to spread out the Chiefs defense. A lot of quick throws, Herbert using his legs. They have a lot of weapons on offense. I love Ladd McConkey. I think that's how you say his name. I think Ladd McConkey's amazing. Could run a lot of different routes. And he's a threat in the middle of the field. He's a threat on the outside. As far as those out routes, those slants, he's a lot of different things he can do. Ladd McConkey's excellent. Conklin, their tight end, is really good. It was good seeing Keenan Allen back. Caught a touchdown last night. So they looked really good offensively, and their defense played well. They looked like a more disciplined team under Harbaugh, I would say. So that was a great game last night. I think where they won the game was when it was 18 to 20? 18 to 20. And I think they had the ball starting at the fourth quarter. And I think they went on like a 10 minute drive and scored a touchdown. One of the ways you beat Mahomes is you have to keep the ball out of his hands. And they did that. So shout out to them. Great game. Next, as you all know, I am a Panthers fan. And we got Jacksonville this week. I have no expectations. I want it to be competitive. I want it to be a good game. as a Panthers fan, I'm interested in seeing, is Bryce Young going to take that next step? I would like for us to flirt with 500 this year, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. I want us to be in that range because I feel like that'll be an indicator of progress. We need to run the ball. We need to get our receivers involved. I want to see, this will be a good big year for Xavier Legette. I want to speak on this. I think XL is a great guy. I think the media loves him. I think he's an interesting personality. However, this is going to be a big year because he had a lot going on in the off season. I think he was in some music videos, some red carpet events, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to make sure he's focused. I want to make sure he's, ready for the season and ready to play because I need to see something from him this year. Because Jalen Coker is very good. I like Jalen Coker a lot, right? And if he's going to be the Z or the 2 receiver, I don't feel like that spot is really solidified in our offense. So I definitely want to see some things from him. I do want to say this, though, being transparent. I get Xavier Legette is a, country guy, and I'm not trying to rag on the guy or anything, but I get he's from the country, and I think it's important for us as fans to kind of understand who our players are. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want my receivers eating raccoon and eating all this old possum and doing all of that. No, I need my receivers to come into training camp fit. I need my receivers coming into training camp ready to perform. I don't know. Sometimes for me, like when I see him run routes, it doesn't look like he get a whole lot of separation. It doesn't look like he's going to be that dominant 2 guy. When I see a 2, I see Chris Godwin. That's essentially what he should be for our offense. I don't see that quite yet. This is a big year for him. I want him to be all about football, locked in, focused. I hope he's dieting. I'm sure he is, but I just want my guys to be all about football. That's just me, right? I think that's a place in which kind of me and Cullen Cowherd. I love Cullen Cowherd. I'm a huge fan of his. I want my guys to be all about football. I want them to be in shape. I want them to be better than they was the year before, especially a year like this for us. This is a big year, and so I just want him to be ready. XL, I love you. I hope you have a great season. Let's get into our division. As you know, like I said, I am a Panthers fan. I do think we win the division this year. I am a little concerned about the defense. I'm not worried about Atlanta. I'm not worried about the Saints. I think it'll be between us and the Bucs. Hopefully we'll get into the playoffs. I know Baker Mayfield, that offense, Todd Bowles, that defense, they're going to have them ready. They're going to be good. But I want us to be right there with them, right? That's what I desire. I think I don't want to take up too much time because I'm going to record after Sunday on Monday what actually happens on Sunday and my key takeaways. Let me know what y'all think. Engage in the comments. Shoot me a DM. I am so super excited to start off this NFL season, giving you all my thoughts. This is the I Got Next podcast. My name is Anthony Mercer. I'll be back in a few days. Peace.